Wil Lutz. 58-yard attempt for the win! Got it!
But still lands him at the dead last position in regards to Madden rating. That is our long snapper, Zach Wood, with a rating of 36.
Yeah!
36. Officially the lowest rating in Madden. Okay, there you go. Congratulations. Well done.
Hello, Cooper Manning here. Welcome to Home Team TV. I've got two guests today. They thought I couldn't handle more than one, but they're wrong again. New Orleans Saints, Wil Lutz, kicker, and Zach Wood, long snapper. And I've been wanting to get this on. I got to talk, guys, I appreciate you being on here, but what's the difference between a long snapper and a deep snapper? Let's get that out of the way right now, Zach. Can you help me?
It's just the wording. I used to, for the longest time, I call it deep snapper, and everybody told me I was wrong. So I just started calling long snapper. I was like, I don't really see the difference, but oh well, I'll just stick to it so I don't get yelled at anymore.
I would assume most deep snappers / long snappers are just kind of wrong most of the time anyway, so you're probably used to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's always their fault.
And then
I just get told to shut up and snap the ball at this point, you know.
Yeah, I would imagine. And there's kind of something, you know, we'll get to Will in a little bit. I know he's, you know, just got out of that page behind him. But I guess the best way, Zach, for you to have a great career is for people to know your name less and less. In
That's
other
right.
words, who's the jackass who snapped it over the punter's head?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. If nobody knows me, I'm doing all right.
Well, I appreciate you being on today. And I guess maybe we get out of the way. Let's get this out of the way. You know, I'm trying to figure out, maybe, Will, you can shed some light on this. Is it more embarrassing for me to be interviewing a kicker and a long snapper, or for y'all to be being interviewed by the adopted Manning third brother? I just don't know.
Man, we're just happy to get some screen time. We don't get much.
I don't know, yeah, at this point.
I think it might be on you here.
Well, we'll see. This could be the shortest interview of your career. So
It might be the longest for me.
yeah, really. In the spirit of that, being I guess, would you ever refer to yourself as a special teamer, Will, or do you always go, I'm a kicker?
I always say kicker naturally, but, you know, at the end of the day, we're all specialists.
Yeah. I remember I talked to Taysom Hill one time and asked him what he would like to refer to himself as. And he said, a quarterback. And I said, I would say third string quarterback and special teamer, but he didn't like that.
No one knows what to refer to him as. He's just a freak.
Now, how are y'all doing in all this nonsense? You getting out and running and trying to find a way to do some push-ups or sit-ups and, you know, get some fitness? What's kind of your daily routine these days?
Well, I don't know if you remember the first time we met in a spin class.
I do.
My fiance at the time, she was our instructor. And as you see, I have a Peloton behind me here. So I'm not slacking on the spinning. So I'm still getting after it. So that's kind of my daily routine is spinning, because in my position, I'd rather just be in good shape. I worry about looking good later.
Well, it's funny. We met at a cycle bar. I was there with my daughter. I remember she was excited to see you. I couldn't give it a hoot about it. But I was curious, and we were both kind of making fun of you because you were wearing like the Tour de France tight shirt and the real tights. And I thought that was a little ambitious for just kind of a casual ride on a.
Yeah, you know
you still wearing like the
you got to look the part. I think that's the most important thing when it comes to anything. You have to look the part. And I just remember I was sitting in the front row and I saw in the mirror. I was like, that is a Manning neck. It's got to be Cooper Manning.
So, notice I don't follow any of the rules in a spin class. You're like, go up, down.
Yeah.
I am out of sync and
along for the ride.
Yeah, that was a pretty average deal. My dad always wanted us to be punters or kickers. He's like, I've been around the NFL. This is the best gig in town. Oddly enough, I have a son who my dad is trying to turn into a long snapper. So he failed on the kicking side and punting side, but now he's moving on to the grandchildren. What is an average day in the life of a kicker, long snapper at practice? I mean, give me a little color, because it always seemed pretty good to me.
Go ahead, Zach.
Shoot. Usually we have like 3 periods. throughout the whole practice, and in between periods, we're kind of just on a knee and hanging out, you know. And then, you know, 10, 15 minutes before the period actually starts, we start doing our warm-ups and getting ready. But unless you're Thomas Morstead, then you're, you know, warming up the whole entire practice until the end.
You know, we invited Thomas to be on this, but he wanted $200,000, and we just
He's all about the investments. It's,
Yeah.
or a haircut. He said he'd take either one. I'm just not sure.
I would have gladly given him a haircut. He needs one.
Now, Will, with all this shelter-in-place stuff, I think you probably saved a little jack on a wedding. Did firm up? Did you get married? Was it legit? Is it happening? When did it happen? Why wasn't I invited? Let's shed some light on some things.
sorry. Sometimes we write, you get one letter wrong in the address and it doesn't make it.
Yeah.
But so we did get legally married, just because we didn't want to postpone our marriage. We didn't think that was a good way to approach it. But we were planning on getting married a couple weeks ago. Obviously, unfortunately, that did not work. She got a bachelorette party. I did not get my bachelor party, so we're still working on that. We'll reapproach that when the time comes. But we are planning. We looked at doing something on the bye week, but we are still going to have a wedding next March or April. We're not set on the date yet, but we still got a party.
Good. With the dynamic between, I guess it's really three of y'all hanging out, with Thomas being the third, y'all spend probably more time together than anyone else position-wise. I mean, it's a lot of just waiting to perform. It's y'all got to be pretty close.
Yeah, well, you talked about practice. We literally prepare to perform for 8 minutes in practice a day, and we're spending every day together. And so, obviously, we bicker like siblings. More like a dad with his age.
Right.
Obviously, that time spent together, I think the friendship is what helps our relationship. So, I think that's pretty important in our positions.
Long snapping is a great profession because you can do it for a long time and you don't get beat up, and you can do it right. It can last a long time. Have you always been able to do this? Did you acquire this ability to deep snap late in life? Tell me about it, because I'm curious about it.
Well, my dad loves telling the story. He'll tell it to anybody he ever meets, even like the cashier, at Columbia or whatever. It's just, he likes to tell a story. He brought me out in the backyard, like when I was in 5th grade, and it's like, you're gonna learn on a long snap today. I was like, Dad, I don't want to be a long snapper. He's right. Like, well, this wasn't a question. It's not an A and B conversation. And so he got me to start doing it. I kind of just stuck with it. I didn't really think it's going to take me anywhere. And he kept saying, he's going to get you to the league. You're too slow and not very athletic to be a defensive lineman in the NFL. So I was like, all right. So kind of stuck with it. And, he's right. It worked out. I hate telling him he was right, but it worked out.
He tells everybody.
Yeah, everybody. Will knows. We'll be at dinner. He's got to tell the waitress, the waiter, everybody. I love it, but also kind of hate it.
and your dad knows how. I mean, he just happens to know how to deep step. It's a little bit of an art to this.
Oh yeah. No, he didn't know anything. He knew the basics. He's like, just throw the ball between your legs. And at that point, he just kept working at it, and got some coaching here and there. Just tweaking it on my own, and it finally worked out, thankfully.
Will, you're a punter too. You can punt. You punted in college. You and Morstead ever have little battles to see if?
Oh, we get into it pretty good. So, a fun fact: I was actually a punter in college. I kicked field goals and I punted in college, and we give each other a hard time. Morstead was a terrible. I'm actually going to leave it. He just wasn't very good in college, and I wasn't either. And so, he had a better field goal percentage than I had in college, and I had a better punt average than he had in college. So every now and then we'll mess around, and he actually kind of bothers me a little bit because he'll start kicking field goals and he'll side-eye Mickey Loomis or Coach Payton as he's kicking them and talking about trying to save some money or something, and I'm just like, someone get my footballs away from him. Yeah. We have fun with it. He definitely can do it. I can turn over football like 1 out of 3 times. Fortunately, he can do it 3 out of 3 times.
I sometimes like to think of a kicker in the same way like a golfer almost. You have a routine and you know what you're doing. Do you have a different thought process on a 30-yard kick and a 45-yard kick and a 50-yard kick? I'm just curious, is it a wedge game and then all of a sudden you hit?
Not much of a thought process. I mean, you know, the only thing that changes is when you get outdoors and, you know, obviously a 30-yard field goal is not going to move on me no matter how windy it is. But when you get back to 50 yards, 45 yards, you got to play the wind a little bit, kind of pick your target. And that's the only thing that really changes. As far as the wedge, you know, it's like if we're inside 30 yards and I'm playing a team who, you know, for example, we just signed Marcus Hunt. The guy's 6'8" or something like that. If he's on the D line and I know that and it's a short field goal, I'll say, let's just get the ball up as quick as possible. But, you know, it's just I trust my ball flight that I usually don't need to manipulate the swing too much.
Well, they're going in. They're going the right places. I won't get in your head anymore. You can get back in that cage now, Will. I appreciate it. Going into Zach, tell your dad he's my next guest.
All right.
And I appreciate the time, guys. Y'all stay safe, and we look forward to seeing y'all back in the action.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Guys.